For too many years, families of children with devastating illnesses have felt helpless as they watch their child suffer. Today, they're taking matters into their own hands and finally finding relief treating their child with cannabis. This is one family's story.
Hi, thanks for tuning in to another episode of
Love and Cannabis.
I am Nina.
I'm Osiris.
And we are the proud parents of Aiden.
Hey all, welcome to another episode. I just wanted to say thank you guys for listening in. We've been getting a lot of positive feedback. People are saying, hey, great episodes, we're really interested. Thank you very much for putting that information out, whatever the episode may be, because it kind of hits home for them. And pretty much that's really our goal, is to, to share our experiences, because we know we're not the only one going through it, and it really inspires us to keep going.
Exactly. So thanks for listening.
Yes, thank you very much. Today's episode is about Tanshins Bill S8191.
Yes.
How did we get to that? I mean, we're just everyday people. All of a sudden, now we got a bill with our son's name on it in New York State, Albany, waiting to be, I guess, reviewed again. I'm still confused about what is holding things up. It's been about a year, almost a year and a half, 2 years now.
Yeah.
And since they've actually looked at it, put on hold, and still waiting to review it because they're waiting for some information. So we're going to share that story and what led up to it, and then also get into where it is now and what's expected.
Exactly. So we're going to give you some backdrop. So we were so fortunate that Aiden was able to attend pre-K in Harlem. It was a full day program. At that time, Aiden was getting to CBD 3 times a day, a morning, an afternoon, and an evening dose. So if he was going to attend school full time, he would need to get his CBD at school. He had a nurse that was with him on the bus, and a nurse that was with him specifically for him in the classroom. So we're all excited. We packed up his meds and everything to give to the nurse. And I remember that morning, the nurse was looking at the meds. She's like, okay. And she said, what is this? I said, oh, this is CBD. She was like, no, I can't give that out. I'm saying, what? We have a prescription. It's for a seizure. She goes, oh, no, I can't give that out. I said, okay. So I called her supervisor, and she said, no, we can't give it out. And she came with this whole excuse how it wasn't federally legal and we can't give it out, blah, blah, blah.
Despite the fact that he has a medical marijuana card, probably one of the few children,
yes,
or if not the first child in New York State to have a medical marijuana card.
Yeah, so we had every documentation. We were using a cannabis doctor. He has epilepsy diagnosis. We thought, it was mainstream that, CBD helps with seizures.
And well known, well documented.
But that wasn't enough. So then I emailed the New York State Nursing Board. God, we just to say, me and this person got into a lot of back and forths. A lot of firm, strong emails were sent. And just to make a long story short, the answer was no. I'm not going to get into all the reasons why they said no, but a lot of it wasn't FDA approved.
I think it was more personal than anything
Some
else.
of it seemed like it was more personal opinions.
Yes, that's what it was, really.
So the nurse wouldn't do it. So we were like, okay, what are we going to do? Because we knew he needed it 3 times a day.
Yeah, and then we started seeing the benefits. So it was important for him to get it. And so that kind of put us in like hyper mode and basically anxious, because we were like trying to figure out, how is this going to work? Especially the fact that we both worked in distant areas from the school and where he was attending. So I decided to make the decision like, okay, I will go leave work to administer it. So I would have traveled about 30 minutes one way from my job, get to his school, which was another 10, 15 minutes to get there, administer the CBD, then turn around, hop back, and get to my job.
And, I'm like, this does not seem right.
It wasn't sustainable. Let's just put it that way.
This is not fair. My son needs this to participate in school.
Yeah, it's
and
okay
to go to school.
Yeah, exactly. And what's so crazy is that he can get the Depakote, he can get the Onfi. There's also those pharmaceutical drugs that could become very addictive, that have the crazy side effects. He can get those with no problem on the bus, off the bus, into school. But something that's a plant, that's natural, no, you can't. Because of an outdated law.
Exactly. So I was like, what are we going to do? So we started doing some research. And we saw that there was a few states that had some laws in place.
Yeah, that allowed for it.
That allowed the administration of CBD in schools.
One of them was Maine.
And New Jersey.
Maine, New Jersey. And what was the other one? There was a third one. I think it was D.C. No, but that's a district. Washington, D.C. I'm not sure, but there was a third.
There was a third one, yeah. So we're like, whoa, New Jersey? Well, that's like, close. That's really close. So how come we're behind the times and we don't have any laws in place? So I said, what can we do? I said, why don't we come up with a bill?
Which is true. Or even, I think where it started is like, besides getting a bill, like, let's talk to our politicians first and see what we can do.
Exactly.
So we started local.
So like, what can we do? Because Aiden is not going to be the only student with this issue. Yeah. As it was getting more popular, we knew that this is not going to be just for Aiden. This is for other kids as well. And it's just not fair.
Yeah. I don't even think I would name it popular, but I think it's the more awareness that people started realizing, like, I could use this to treat my child. So having worked in, I had 15 years experience of working in schools. So I've seen children that could have benefited from it. Mm-hmm. And you're currently working in schools. So you see the kids that could benefit from CBD oil. So it's like, eventually, this is going to be something where kids are going to be going to school and they're going to the nurse and they're going to be needing their CBD oil. So let's jump. So our thought process is like, let's jump ahead and get this ball rolling now.
Not only for Aiden, for other kids. Because I'm thinking, imagine your child needed their nebulizer or for their asthma, and they couldn't get it. How unfair is that?
How scary is that?
Some kids need their CBD to stop seizures, as a rescue method. Like, this is not fair. And every child has a right to go to school. So the mayor, de Blasio, was having a town hall meeting. And I'm not the type of person to really go to these type of things. No. Or really have to, So I said, you know what? He's our mayor. He's having a meeting. He needs to know that this is going on.
And I was like, go get him, girl. I'll stay home with Aiden. Go get him. And I said, give him hell, too. Did I say give him hell?
Yeah. So I went to the meeting, the town hall meeting, and everyone posed a question. It went over like 4 hours, but I stayed to the end. I wasn't called to pose a question to the mayor, but I said, let me just stay at the end, at least to the end. Maybe I can, somehow get a picture, something. So I did. And at the end, I went line up for a picture. As I was taking the picture, I told him, I said, hey, this is what's going on with my son. We're in District 5 in Manhattan. He needs a CBD in school. What can you do to help us? This doesn't seem fair. And surprisingly, he was really receptive.
Wow. That's funny.
He was extremely, extremely receptive. He said, okay, wow, this seems like an issue, public health issue, he mentioned. I was like, yeah. And he said, let me get your email. And then he said, I'm going to email so-and-so, and that person should be getting back to you. And they did.
Wow. That was amazing that you, and the funny thing is you text me a picture you took with the blouse. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I had the courage and actually something came out of it.
Yeah, there was. And you know what's crazy? Soon after that, I believe Senator Gillibrand was speaking in Brooklyn at the time. And I was like, I am going to corner her. I took Aiden with me and a friend of mine, and we went out there. And for some of these politicians who come up and speak, they usually like to do the backdoor exit soon after they're done speaking. Yeah. So after you had met with Mayor de Blasio, you had the conversation. And then you had also with...
So after I spoke with de Blasio, I knew that this had to be more on the local level.
Yeah.
So I said, let me talk to the senator from my district, which was Brian Benjamin.
Yeah, we saw Brian Benjamin, yeah.
So I couldn't get directly to him, but then I spoke to his chief of staff and we exchanged emails. And after that, I just kept on emailing her, and calling the office, emailing her again. She never got back to me. So then we saw that our senator was having a community town hall meeting again.
Yeah.
I told Osiris about it.
And I said, I'll be there. I was like, when is it? What time? I'll be there. And it was interesting because I'm like, okay, I went there dressed. And so we're sitting, I think they had rented out I think they were using a hospital floor. They were using a room from the hospital, I guess a space for the town hall meeting. So I'm sitting there and listening to everybody as they come up and speak. Most of the part of what the general public were talking about was the usual things, needing security in the project areas, needing more police presence, more security cameras, more lighting. The other issue was the rent was too high. That was one of their concerns, or basically garbage not being picked up. So it was my turn, and I stood up and said, what are you going to do about kids needing medical marijuana in schools to deal with epilepsy or any kind of ailment? I think everybody that was sitting there, because most of them were elderly, turned around and looked at me like, what the F is he talking about? They literally looked at me like, I'm like, what? Not everybody has this problem? But since they looked at me, I'm looking back, I'm like, yeah, I'm very serious. The senator said, oh, yes, I have to talk to you. Literally looked at me and said, yes, I have to talk to you. I spoke to your wife. Yes. He looked at his chief and said, get his number, please. Talk to him. We'll sidebar this. Literally just stopped and said, we'll sidebar this. It was the craziest thing. So I was like, oh, you met my wife, but yet you never responded. So now it's on. Basically, now it's on. So after everything was done, the chief of staff had came by and spoke to me, said, yes, your wife, her and I had spoken. We exchanged number. Here's my number. Let's schedule a time and talk. I said, not a problem. I'll definitely come out and see you. And the senator, eventually I went over to him and I introduced myself. We talked briefly and he said, yes, please, let's make an appointment. Come see us. And that was the beginning that got us on the ball rolling forward. But soon after that conversation, I was, like I stated before, I attended another town hall meeting where Senator Gillibrand was there. And I was able to get on stage, speak to her, take a picture with Aiden in the hand, and she got to meet him. Soon after, as that meeting was over, she had went out the back door. Didn't really seem. That was the opportunity for me to talk to her in depth about what the issue was and what we were facing. And she said, well, let's schedule a meeting with my people in the city because she would be in D.C. and she really couldn't get involved because she's at the federal level. So I said, I understood. But she knew and she heard and she wanted to support in any way she could. And that was very important just for her to have the ear and give me that moment to listen to myself and take a picture with Aiden as well. So we do have a picture. Actually, when she came back to New York the following year, we took another picture. She remembered Aiden. She's like, oh my God, Aiden, look, he's also grown up. It was really good and really kind of cool too. Yeah, like a state senator not forget you and you're like, take pictures. And it's like, this kid is 6 and he's like a senator, a state senator, a local senator. Yes. It is a journey and a half. But it was just the beginning.
So we knew when we were going to meet with our local senator that we had to have a game plan of what we were going to say. Yeah. So we had a pen, and we're like, okay, we got to give statistics.
Yes.
We have to give examples. So it was great that New Jersey already had something in place. So we gave New Jersey as an example. We gave a plan of action.
Yes.
So we had to have everything all set because we were like, we don't want to go there and not be prepared.
And that's pretty much what they want, is that they want things prepaid. I guess pre-made, not prepaid, but pre-made in a sense for them to look over and then have their people look it over. And then if anything else, rewrite the language so it fits, especially something like this. When we originally decided to put the bill together, it was going to be called Aiden's Bill. But then I did some research and realized that there was another bill in New York State named Aiden's Bill. It was for a child that had died from a I guess from some
a
strange
rare genetic
disease.
Yeah.
And I did not want to take anything away from that by creating another bill under Aiden's name. So I used Aiden's middle name, which is Tanshin, which was given to him by a dear friend of mine she was a female Buddhist priest, one of the few in this world. Tanshin means secret of truth. And I thought this was really appropriate. It was so apropos for this, what we're going through, the secret of truth. And then we're referring to this plant, Yeah. So we call it Tanshins Bill, and it was titled S8191. And that bill basically laid out that the school would create a policy that would allow for someone to be a caregiver assigned to Aiden, whether it would be a teacher, a nurse, or even the principal, or someone at administrative level, but someone would be able to administer his CBD while either in school or off campus at an event.
So it was
something to protect them legally.
So let's backdrop to the day of the meeting. So we got a meeting with the senator. So we got dressed up,
suit and tie, ready to go, professional.
Ready to go. We're like, okay. So we got there and we're in his office.
Yeah.
And we got the meeting. We're in his office. We gave all the information. We actually printed out a copy of the bill Jersey had. So they had some.
It was New Jersey. It was Maine. It was. And also we had help from other people too, from other states who were also preparing the same type of bill for their states. One from South Carolina, another one from Colorado, and there was another father out in Washington
State, yes. So we had all these examples.
Mm-hmm. What to include in the bill.
Include. So at the end of the meeting, he said, yeah.
I'll support it.
I'll get someone. So at that case, you don't. So also there's bill writers. So we didn't write the bill. We gave input, but they had bill writers.
Yes. Shout out to Phil.
Yeah.
Thank you, Phil.
They had the bill writers, so they would keep us posted on how it was. It's a lengthy process, but they kept us posted on all the steps.
Yeah, it's true. They did emails back when they did complete it. They said, what do you think? What do you think we should add? What should we do with this part? Simultaneously, Senator Savino out in Staten Island had her bill as well. She was a strong proponent, and God bless her because she really pushed a lot into the medical marijuana program and what she added. So it was awesome. She didn't have a role in our bill, but at the same time, because of the things that she was doing, it kind of helped us design the bill that we put together.
Yeah. So it was great. I mean, I remember when we left.
It was a great experience. Let's just say that.
We were great. We were like, oh my God, I can't believe we just did that.
Yeah, no, when we got home, we're like, we just met with a state senator. Oh my God. Like, how often does that happen? When does that happen?
So it was a lot to take in. And all of this was a lot. We went from, I hate to use the word normal people, but we used to.
I don't think our life was normal, so I can't say normal. Everyday people just thrown into something.
And we did it. We saw something that wasn't right, and we tried to make it correct. We tried to, we said, this is not right.
It's not acceptable.
And we had the courage to say something.
Yeah, and it's not that easy. It really takes a courage because you're literally changing how you think your life should be and putting into another path that you did not even think about was even in line in what you want to do. Because you just want to take care of your child. You just want to have your family. You go to work, come home, pay your bills, just be the everyday person. But now you're thrusted into this role like, this is for my son and sons like him or children like him who may not have that parent who's able to commit to that time to do these things because they don't know where to start. They don't know who to reach out to. They don't know how to get even in the mindset of doing something like this that we're doing. And it was amazing.
It was amazing because I wasn't, raised to do that. Like if someone says no, a higher figure is no. That's it.
Not me.
There's no saying.
I think that was the difference between us.
Yeah, there was no. It was like, okay, it was no.
I was like, I'm not accepting the no.
Yeah,
like, I'm going to push the envelope.
Because it wasn't right,
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. It wasn't right. And I think that's what made us want to push this further, because it just did not sit right with us. Whether we, you saying, no is no, that's how we raised. But this part of you says, you know what? This doesn't feel right. This is not how our lives or anyone's life should be, where we accept things the way they are, especially when it's not something that's beneficial to us or our child, especially when we're struggling and our child's struggling. We need the support. We need to really change things, especially when we see it's going to be changing anyway. Why not now?
Exactly. And you go to a hospital, and I've worked in a hospital before, you see these patients really doped up on very high doses of
comatose type drugs.
Yeah, and the nurses can give it out.
Yeah, dish it out.
No problem.
It, right?
Even some of these things can cause these patients to be addicted.
That's crazy.
But they can give it out, no problem.
They can give it out in schools, right?
Yeah, anywhere.
That's absurd. And yet we're talking about a plant, right?
But
we're talking about a plant, right?
Exactly.
That's just nuts.
So it just doesn't seem. It just doesn't seem right.
But for the most part, I mean, we really thought about not just our family, but other families behind us that was going through this. So we had our first press conference. It was a month before they went into, what is that called? I guess they went
Sessions?
They went to sessions. So it was in April. So we had the press conference. This was really interesting. So we went to the press conference. We're outside in front of City Hall. We had the media there. It was crazy. Big ups and shout outs to all the people that came out to support us.
Yeah.
Shira, my family, my brother Gary, my sister Bailene, there were so many people. Jake and
Joyce, my mom.
It was amazing to see the support that we got. And then the media coverage we got. It was Channel 5, Channel 11. We even had a radio station that covered and interviewed us. And this was what's really telling and tells you the kind of disconnect that's going on, that's out there politically. It was about, I think the press conference was supposed to start sometime around 11:30. So it rolled over into 12 o'clock, and it was basically dosage time for Aiden. So as I pull out the bottle of CBD oil to administer to Aiden, the senator came over and said, okay, so what are you doing? Because we really need to get this press conference, moving forward. I said, I have to administer the CBD right now.
I remember this, yeah.
And so he's watching me. He goes, what's that? I said, that's his medicine. What do you mean medicine? That's the CBD oil. He goes, is this what we're fighting about? I said, yes. And in my mind, I'm thinking, like, what you think it was? Like, what? I'm going to pull out a blunt or a vape pen for him?
I think he did. I think he did.
Yeah. So he's like, really? This is what we're fighting? I'm like, yes, this is absurd.
Yeah, and then he got really, fired up.
He got really fired up. So he got in front of the camera and went off.
Because it basically looks like, if you have kids, it basically looks like you're giving, some type of Tylenol. It's in a syringe. It's a liquid form. So he's like, this is it?
That's all he kept saying.
He goes, okay, let me see how you do it. And
so
he pulled it out. Aiden opened his mouth, and that was it.
That was it.
No biggie.
And he was just shocked. I think it was just disbelief that this is what we're fighting out, and I guess that's what I'm trying to say, like the disconnect or the misunderstanding or the stigma and those years of prohibition gave him the idea, like most, that people are just sitting around trying to get high. And we're doing the same thing with a child. But he was willing to support us, never knowing or never seeing how we administer this. He never asked. He believed this on blind faith. It's like, we're going to go with this.
Yeah.
Which was very good. But crazy, but good. But we appreciate it. But after that press conference, it opened up all kinds of other things that went on for us. I mean, it was a whirlwind of activities. I mean, literally, we were attending events, local, state.
Yeah, we got speaking engagements.
Yeah, it was crazy because one of the things, too, is like we're one of the few families of color that's involved this deeply in the sense of political, social, and having their child out there and not hiding and being fearful about stigmas about it.
Exactly. It was a big deal.
Yeah, it was. Even our families were like...
Everybody was shocked.
Yeah. They're like, this is not us. We don't do these things.
What is going on?
They're like, I saw you. How many phone calls and texts we got? I saw you on TV. Oh my God.
I know. I went back to work. They were like, were you on TV? I'm like,
were you too? Like,
yeah.
It was interesting. And soon after, Huffington Post reached out to us. Mm-hmm. They found out about us through someone else.
I think you're a cannabis doctor.
I think it was a cannabis. Yes, mm-hmm. Dr. June Ellen. Thank you, Dr. Chin. Thank you. So Huffington Post did a special on us. And I think that not just on us, but other families that are using cannabis to treat their child for a certain ailment. And it was titled Children Who Need Cannabis
to Survive.
Mm-hmm. This is an extreme title, but understandable.
It's the truth, though.
It does. It is the truth. Let's put it there.
It definitely.
For the reality of it, they stayed with us for a whole day. A whole day they were with us. And ironically, they caught Aiden having a seizure like as soon as they came in. They were with us from, it was like 6:45 a.m. until like 5 p.m. The rest of the day, they went to his school. They got to see him in activities. But they did also get to see the CBD work. Because as soon as he woke up around 7 o'clock, he's sitting at the table ready to have breakfast. You'll see the videos it's on YouTube. It's on Huffington Post website, listed in America. It's also on our page as well on Facebook. It's had over almost close to 5 million views. I think it was about 4 million views already. So it was astonishing because it took us some time to actually watch it. I think it took me about 3 to 4 days to really watch it. And I think it took you about a week and a half to watch the video because when you're living through this, you don't realize what's going on. You're just going through the days. But then when someone presents it to you and have you watch it, it's heartbreaking.
It was heartbreaking. Yeah.
I think I cried a couple of times as I watched it. In fact, I had to watch it in pieces because it was really that hard because they realized like, oh my God, this is my life. This is our life. Yeah. This is our journey. I don't know what I would be doing right now if this wasn't the case, if I wasn't going through Aiden's journey, because it is his journey. We're just going along for the ride and we're pretty much setting things up for his future because we don't know what it's going to be, but we know what we need to do. And that's really protect and support him in any way we can.
Exactly. So it just all of a sudden we become like these social justice advocates and it just empowered us to actually become fighters. So we know if you speak up and you can make change. Like, I never really truly believed that until now. You just have to speak up and we were from all this experience, we got empowered.
Yes, that is so important.
We became empowered and it helps us in other things, in all the aspects of our lives.
Yeah. And
not even just, with our cannabis advocacy.
Yeah, just to ask you, one of the things I walked away with, now continue to walk with, not even walk away with, but continue to walk with, is that I question things. Mm-hmm. When things just don't sit right with him, like, I'm not going to accept this. I'm going to question it. Especially when it has to deal with my son, especially when it deals with our family and what things that we need to in order to ensure his health, his ability to succeed, and those things that he needs in order to achieve certain goals, especially when you're in school. It's, you're dealing with the OT, which is your occupational therapist, your special ed instructor, your speech therapist, your physical therapist, and they're doing certain things that are like, no, you're not giving him the challenges they need. You're not giving the proper tools, or you're being inadequate in what you're doing. You can question him. You can actually pose him and say, hey, look, I would like to see these things happen. I want you to do these things. Let's open up the dialogue so it's not one-sided.
Exactly.
And it's the same thing with doctors, too. When we go to a doctor's visit, it's like we're being transparent. Say, look, our son is on CBD oil. You're either with us or against us, or we're just not having this conversation at all. And for the most part, they've been working with us. And that's very powerful, because before it was always, again, a one-sided conversation, because they were the authorities, they were the professionals, this is what they know.
Exactly. So we definitely learned a lot from this experience. Definitely.
And I enjoy sharing it because I know there's a lot of families out there and parents who are in the same situation and they don't know, and sometimes they second guess themselves. look, if you're questioning it, you know there's something not right. Push the issue, research, be an advocate beyond understanding. And I think a lot of it comes from education. When you can have those conversations, because you have to prove something. And so that puts you in a position because you're looking to protect your child, your family, and your rights. So there are other avenues too that leads into this, in the fact that now we're getting more involved in our community. We're also getting involved in our school.
Exactly.
So we got signed up for our PTA members now.
Yeah, so we're like, oh no, this is wrong. We got to be PTA. We got to do this.
Not only that, but we were also coaching T-ball.
Yeah.
So I was the manager, and you were one of my coaches.
Assistant coaches.
Yeah, it was like, what are we doing? Our son's playing T-ball. He has epilepsy, but he's the best hitter on the team. And it was a good team. Not to say, not to take anything away from the team, but our son was like, and I think, again, it goes back to our last episode where we talked about neuroplasticity, the rewiring the brain. I got to see that.
Exactly. And, we also, we want to help Aiden, but then we also want to help other kids.
Yeah.
So this whole thing's like helping our community, got to help our schools. It's just not all about your son or your kids. And we learned that through all of this.
It's about everybody, because we've met so many families that are experiencing the same things we are, but not as vocal or involved as we are. And I think that since they've spoken to us, hear our stories, they hear what we've been doing, it, like, again, empowers them to say, oh, wow, you guys are doing all this? They're taken aback because, like we said, it's not something that we think we would be doing. But for them, it's like something that now they think, hey, I can do this.
Exactly.
I can try this now.
You can try. And, learn it's okay to speak up.
Yes.
Like, there was an issue at my son's school where there was trash on the playground. And I said, you need to call your local senator. They were like, what? I'm like, yeah.
They never thought they could do something like that.
I said, let me call Parks and Recreation. Make a few phone calls. They were like, what? I'm like, I just feel empowered. Like, I know you have to speak up.
Yeah, you do.
You have to speak up. So.
There is so many things out there where we're going to have to touch base on another aspect, something that's close to home that I have to go up to Albany and discuss, because it's going to affect my child. It's going to affect our family and how it got us to where we are now. So that's another story, and that's going to be another episode where we can get into it. I hate to be vague about it, but it is a sensitive issue. So there's two sides to every story, as they say. But for the most part, I mean, this plant has empowered us. And that's why we say our motto is be strong and stay empowered.
Yeah, because that's a big thing. But thanks for tuning in. I think that is it.
You think this is it? There's so much more. For now. There's so much more. But we do appreciate you guys listening in. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot us an email or a quick text, because you know who we are. And you'll find us also on Facebook as well. But we will follow up with the bill itself, because right now it's still hovering in the air, uncertain. One of the things that we heard from another senator is that it's best to take whatever portions that we need from the bill that we feel that's most important and add it to another bill that's already in place, which would be easier to pass than to do a standalone bill. I'm okay with that, but then again, a part of me is not okay with it. But I'll see, and we will see.
We'll see, but it's still
up in the air. I think
up in the air.
Well, there was a follow-up. One of the things that they were concerned about when I spoke to the chief of staff of the center, it was that, has any schools have felt any repercussions from the federal government in a sense of funding because that they're allowing medical marijuana on campuses? As of now, I have not heard any. And I think that's what was the issue, was the holdup.
Yeah, the holdup with the bill now is that they don't want to put schools in a position where they may lose federal funding.
Yes.
Because I guess CBD is still federally illegal.
But that doesn't make sense, because it's the funding that they get is for programs.
So they don't want to
drug-free zone. But I'm saying it's not like the funding is to go towards students in the school, but it's for education towards drugs, like don't use drugs. drug policies or programs, right? That's my understanding. So it's really, how are they using that funding then? Are they using it to subsidize other things? That could be that's a whole other ball of wax.
So right now that was their rationale for the bill not passing as of yet. So we'll keep you posted. So tune in.
yeah, definitely. That's interesting. So if you guys know anything, please share. If you know any states out there that may have been affected by this, by them allowing, it's only like 3 or 4 states, so it's not that hard. That has allowed medical marijuana on campus or CBD on campus to be administered. But thanks, guys, for listening in, and we appreciate you. You guys enjoy the rest of your week, and stay strong and stay empowered.
Ciao. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Love and Cannabis. I'm Nina.
I'm Osiris.
And we're the proud parents of Aiden.
Be strong
and stay empowered.